The KTLA News at 10 is back with alarming accusations against a former Westminster police officer. Anthony Orban sits behind bars accused of unspeakable crimes that include kidnapping a woman, then raping her at gunpoint. His defense? A cocktail of antidepressant medications made him do it. I spoke exclusively with Orban's wife. Anthony Orban was an Iraq War vet, a cop for the Westminster PD. But in April of this year, the model citizen turned into a monster. On April 3rd, Orban and a buddy, Jeff Jelinek, spent the afternoon in Ontario drinking margaritas and beer. Orban was already on prescription antidepressant medication. Then, something that day made Orban snap.
There's no denying, what happened. Something happened to his brain.
The terrible, terrible crimes that Anthony Orban is alleged to have committed that day are outlined in graphic detail in the complaint against him by the San Bernardino County District Attorney. Prosecutors contend Orban and Jelinek kidnapped a waitress here in Ontario. She was a mother with a child seat in her car. Orban forced his way into her car and abducted her at gunpoint. He left Jelinek and forced his victim to drive to Fontana, where he brutally raped her in her car, forced her to perform oral sex, and shoved his police service revolver in her mouth. He texted photos of the attack to his buddy, Jelinek.
He had a mental break. Something happened.
Orban's sister Tisha, his mother Margaret, and his wife Tracy all sat down exclusively with me to talk about that horrific day. A day of crime so heinous that Orban, if found guilty, is facing more than 200 years in prison. Orban's victim escaped with her life and called 911. In a fog, Orban called his wife Tracy. He had left his gun in his victim's car.
He had called me. Doesn't have any recollection of calling me. I show up and he looked drugged. He absolutely looked drugged.
At what point did you realize there was big trouble?
When I was sitting in the car and he was getting ID'd, and I knew something happened.
Now, Orban's family and his attorney are hoping a jury can be convinced that the cocktail of two antidepressant prescription drugs Orban was taking, Zoloft and Neurontin, rendered him incapable of rational thought.
He has absolutely no recollection of the events. The reason here is the use of psychotropic drugs, Zoloft and Neurontin, causing a psychotic break from reality.
Could Orban's Zoloft and Neurontin cocktail have led to his criminal conduct? We spoke with Dr. Michael Wincor at USC's pharmacy school, who told us that Orban's two antidepressants can have side effects.
Everything from emotional changes and instability to hostility, irritability. There also is some amnesia that has been reported in cases with Neurontin.
And Wincor points to another issue to consider.
Individuals who receive prescriptions for either Zoloft or Neurontin are advised not to combine those with alcohol.
Nevertheless, San Bernardino County Prosecutor Deborah Ploghouse tells KTLA News, quote, "We're moving forward and we will litigate in the court of law." In the meantime, as Anthony Orban sits in jail, he leaves behind family members who, despite the horrific crimes he's accused of committing, continue to stand by him.
My biggest thing is what happened to him, I don't want to happen to somebody else.
Both Anthony Orban and Jeff Jelinek have pleaded not guilty in the case. Their next pretrial court date is scheduled for November.